3 weeks before Christmas, I overheard my son and his wife planning to forge my signature, drain my retirement accounts, and commit me to a memory care facility I didn't need. They thought I was napping in my recliner. They thought wrong. I spent those 3 weeks quietly dismantling every piece of their scheme. On Christmas morning, my son called me in a panic. "Dad, where's the money? What happened to the accounts?" I told him to check under the Christmas tree. What he found there changed everything. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. The rain hadn't stopped for 6 days. Portland in December does that. Wraps everything in gray wool and waits. I stood at my kitchen window watching water stream down glass, coffee going cold in my hand, listening to voices that shouldn't have been in my house at 2 inches the afternoon on a Tuesday. My name is Walter Brennan, 66 years old, retired architect. Widowed 18 months ago when Helen lost her fight with pancreatic cancer. The house on Hawthorne Street was ours. 32 years of marriage pressed into these walls like flowers in a book. 4 bedrooms, craftsman style, quarter-acre lot. I designed the addition myself back in '04. The kitchen Helen always wanted. The sunroom where she painted. Worth $740,000 in this market. I knew that number because my son Marcus had mentioned it 3 times in the past month, casually. The way you mention weather, Marcus and his wife Diane had moved in last March, 9 months ago. He'd lost his marketing job in January, and Diane's real estate license wasn't producing closings. They needed somewhere to land, he said. Just temporary. Few months at most. I said yes because that's what fathers do. Helen would have wanted that. The voices came from the second-floor office. My office. The one with the drafting table and the filing cabinet, where I kept every important document I owned. I'd come back early from physical therapy. My right knee. Replacement surgery last spring. The therapist had a family emergency. Cut the session short. I entered through the mudroom. Sock feet on hardwood. Quiet out of habit. Helen had been a light sleeper. Some habits outlast the reason for them. Marcus's voice carried down the stairwell, clear as a church bell. "Diane, the power of attorney is solid. I got his signature on the refinance application yesterday. Told him it was the homeowner's insurance renewal. He didn't even read it. My hand found the wall. Needed something solid." Diane's response. Clipped. Efficient. The way she talked when she was managing a deal. And Dr. Reeves? The cognitive assessment? Signed and filed. Progressive early onset dementia. Recommends supervised care. I have the facility picked out. Sunrise Gardens in Beaverton. $6,200 a month. We use the equity from the refi to fund it. And once the conservatorship goes through, we control everything. House, retirement accounts, all of it. How much total? House equity after refinance. About $390,000. His 401k rollover, $285,000. Social Security redirect, once we're conservators. Pension from the architecture firm, $3,400 monthly. We're looking at close to $700,000 in liquid assets plus ongoing income. More than enough to pay off my debts and set us up. Diane laughed. Short, sharp. Your father has no idea? He takes 3 pills every morning and forgets which ones he's already taken. He asks me the same questions twice. He's slipping, Diane. Everyone can see it. Everyone can see it? Or we need everyone to believe it? Pause. Marcus's voice dropped. Same thing, isn't it? I stood in my own hallway, rain tapping the windows, listening to my son auction off my life. My hand trembled against the wall. Not from weakness, from restraint. I'm an architect. I've spent 40 years understanding how structures work. Load-bearing walls, foundation integrity, the exact point where stress exceeds capacity and everything collapses. Standing in that hallway, I began calculating stress points of a different kind. I went back out through the mudroom, sat in my truck in the driveway for 20 minutes, engine off, rain hammering the roof, breathed, thought. When the shaking stopped, I went inside through the front door, loudly, keys jangling, boots on the mat. "I'm home," I called out. Therapy let out early. Marcus appeared at the top of the stairs, smiling. That smile I'd watched evolve from a toothless infant grin to whatever this was. Performance art. "Hey, Dad. How's the knee?" "Getting there." "You two have lunch?" "Just finishing some paperwork." "Diane's working on a listing." "Paperwork." "Right." That night, after they went to bed at 11, I sat at the kitchen table with a legal pad and a pen. The house was silent, except for the furnace cycling and rain against windows. I wrote 3 words at the top of the page. What? I know. Then I started listing. 1. Marcus had forged my signature on a refinance application. He'd slid it in with insurance papers 2 days ago. I remembered now. He'd pointed to a signature line, said something about annual renewal. I'd signed without reading. My fault. Won't happen again. 2. A doctor named Reeves had produced a cognitive assessment I'd never sat for. Fabricated medical records. That's a felony in Oregon. 3. They planned to file for conservatorship. Use the fake medical records as evidence. Lock me in a facility. Take everything. 4. They'd been living in my house rent-free for 9 months while engineering my destruction. I stared at the list. Added a 5th item. 5. I have 21 days until Christmas. Marcus mentioned wanting everything in place by the holidays. That's my deadline. Architects work backward from completion dates. I know how to reverse engineer a timeline. I tore off the page, folded it into my wallet, and went to bed. I didn't sleep, but I rested. There's a difference. My mind was already drafting blueprints. Wednesday morning. First move. I drove to the Multnomah County Recorder's office downtown while Marcus and Diane were at a coffee shop meeting. Told them I was getting blood work done. Asked the clerk to pull any recent filings or recordings associated with my property address. The woman typed, scrolled, frowned. Sir, there's a refinance application filed 4 days ago. First National Mortgage. $390,000 against your property. Your signature is on the application. Can I see the signature? She turned the screen. My name, but not my hand. Close. Marcus had practiced. But I'd been signing documents for 40 years. The B was wrong. I closed the loop. Marcus leaves it open. That's not my signature, I said. She went quiet. Sir, if you believe this was filed fraudulently, you'll want to speak with... Not yet. I need to document everything first. Can you make me certified copies? She did. I paid $47 in fees and walked out with proof. Next stop. Dr. Nathan Reeves. I looked him up on my phone in the parking lot. Board-certified psychiatrist. Lake Oswego. 4-star reviews. Accepting new patients. I called his office. I'd like to request copies of my medical records. My name is Walter Brennan. The receptionist typed. Paused. Sir, we don't have you in our system. Check again? My son may have scheduled an evaluation on my behalf. More typing. I'm sorry, Mr. Brennan. We have no record of you as a patient. No evaluation. No assessment. Nothing. Thank you. That's exactly what I needed to hear. Can you email me a letter confirming that? Certified, if possible? She was confused but obliging. The letter arrived in my inbox within 2 hours. Dr. Nathan Reeves had never examined, evaluated, or treated Walter James Brennan. Any document suggesting otherwise was unauthorized and fraudulent. I printed 2 copies at the library, stored one in my truck's locked toolbox, emailed the other to a new email account I created that afternoon, walterbrennan.evidence@protonmail.com. Encrypted. Private. Untouchable. Thursday. I needed a lawyer. Not just any lawyer. Someone who understood elder abuse, conservatorship fraud, and property crimes. Someone who'd fight dirty if necessary but win clean. I found Catherine Park through the Oregon State Bar Referral Service. Elder law specialist. 15 years experience. Office in the Pearl District. I met her that afternoon. Her office smelled like coffee and old paper. She was maybe 50. Sharp features, reading glasses on a chain. I spread my evidence across her conference table. Certified copies of the forged refinance application. Dr. Reeves's denial letter. My handwritten timeline of Marcus and Diane's conversations. She read everything twice. Looked up. Mr. Brennan, your son committed multiple felonies. Forgery. Attempted fraud. If they file the conservatorship with fabricated medical records, that's perjury and elder abuse. I know what they did. I need to know what I can do. First priority. Block that refinance. I'll contact First National tomorrow. Flag the application as fraudulent. They'll freeze it pending investigation. Will Marcus know? Eventually. We can delay notification. Maybe a week. I need until Christmas. December 25th. Can you give me that? She studied me. Why Christmas specifically? Because that's when they plan to spring the conservatorship. I want everything in place before they move, and I want them to find out on their terms. In their way. At the moment they think they've won. Catherine leaned back. You want to beat them at their own game. I want to end the game entirely. She nodded slowly. Then, we need independent psychiatric evaluations. 3 separate doctors. Unimpeachable. I'll schedule them this week. We also need to document everything in your home. Conversations. Behavior. Anything showing your competency. I've started recording. Oregon's a one-party consent state for recordings in private settings where I'm a participant. Her eyebrows rose. You've done your homework. I'm an architect, Miss Park. Research is how I stay alive. Over the next 2 weeks, I lived a double life. Mornings, I was the declining father Marcus wanted me to be. Slightly confused. Repeating questions. Misplacing my reading glasses. I even started writing myself reminder notes and leaving them around the kitchen. A performance for their benefit, Marcus noticed. Of course he did. Dad, you left a note reminding yourself to take your pills. Are you having trouble remembering? I looked at him with manufactured uncertainty. Did I? Must have been in a fog this morning. Don't worry about it, son. Behind his concern, I saw calculation. Another data point for his case. Another brick in my prison wall. I gave him bricks. Let him build. I was building something bigger. Afternoons, while they were out, I executed. Met with 3 independent psychiatrists. Dr. Alma Gutierrez at OHSU. Dr. Frederick Marsh in Tigard. Dr. Patricia Lemon in Milwaukee. 6 hours of comprehensive evaluation across all 3. Memory tests. Reasoning exercises. Personality assessments, cognitive benchmarks, all 3 conclusions. Fully competent, superior cognitive function for age group, no indicators of dementia, confusion, or impairment. Catherine filed the reports with the court preemptively. If Marcus submitted his conservatorship petition, 3 unimpeachable evaluations would be waiting. I also made other arrangements. Quiet ones. Opened a new checking account at a credit union in Gresham. Transferred my pension direct deposit, moved $180,000 from my retirement accounts to the new institution, rented a safe deposit box, stored originals of everything. Deed, real will, Helen's life insurance documentation, psychiatric evaluations. Meanwhile, I watched, recorded, documented. December 14th. Marcus on the phone in the garage, thinking I was asleep. The conservatorship petition is ready. We filed December 23rd. Judge Mitchell's clerk owes me a favor. She'll expedite. By Christmas, we'll have emergency temporary conservatorship. Dad goes to Sunrise Gardens January 2nd. I stood on the other side of the garage door, phone recording every word. December 18th. Diane in the kitchen, talking to someone on speakerphone. A woman's voice I didn't recognize. The facility requires medical documentation. Can you have Dr. Reeves's assessment forwarded? Already done, Diane said. We also need the primary care physician to sign off. I'm working on that. Working on it how? Marcus has a friend who works at a clinic. He'll add notes to Walter's file, suggesting memory issues during routine visits. Nothing dramatic, just enough to support the pattern. That's falsifying medical records. That's protecting our future. I recorded that too. Every syllable. December 20th. I met Catherine at her office for the final briefing. We're ready, she said. The refinance has been flagged and frozen. Your psychiatric evaluations are filed. I have certified copies of every recording, authenticated by our forensic tech. The question is timing. When do you want to spring this? Christmas morning, not the 23rd? When they file? Let them file. Let the petition enter the system. That becomes evidence of their intent. The filing itself is an act of fraud, using fabricated medical documents. Once it's on record, they can't claim they were just considering it. They committed. Catherine was quiet a moment. That's methodical. I've been building things for 40 years. I know when to pour the foundation and when to raise the walls. December 23rd arrived under pewter skies. Marcus left the house at 9 a.m. Said he was buying last-minute gifts. I knew where he was really going. Multnomah County Courthouse, filing a petition to declare his father mentally incompetent. He came home at noon, cheerful, wrapped presents, sang along with Christmas music, kissed Diane in the kitchen, hugged me. This is going to be a great Christmas, Dad. Yes, it is. December 24th, Christmas Eve. I excused myself in the afternoon, said I needed to pick up a prescription. Instead, I drove to my storage unit, loaded 2 suitcases into the truck. Clothes, documents, Helen's jewelry box, the framed photo from our wedding. Essentials. 32 years of marriage condensed into what fits in a Ford F-150. I stopped at the post office, mailed a thick envelope to the Multnomah County District Attorney's office. Inside, copies of every recording, every forged document, every fraudulent medical record, Catherine Park's cover letter summarizing the evidence, and a formal criminal complaint. Then I drove to the Heathman Hotel downtown. Checked in for 3 nights. Cash. The room had a view of Pioneer Courthouse Square. Christmas lights reflected off wet pavement. I sat on the bed, looked at Helen's photo. I'm doing the right thing, I told her. He stopped being our son when he decided I was just a balance sheet. Christmas morning. I woke at 5:30, showered, dressed in the blue button-down Helen had bought me 3 Christmases ago, made coffee from the room's machine, waited. At 7:12 a.m., my phone rang. Marcus. Dad, where are you? We woke up and you're not here. Your truck's gone. My voice was calm, level. The voice I used in client presentations when the stakes were high and panic would solve nothing. Good morning, Marcus. Merry Christmas. Dad, are you okay? Did you wander off? Diane's worried. Should we call someone? Wander off. Like a confused old man who forgot where he lived. Even now, even in this moment, he was building his case. I didn't wander anywhere. I'm exactly where I chose to be. You should look under the Christmas tree. I left you a gift. What? Dad, this isn't under the tree, Marcus. The red envelope. I heard him moving. Footsteps on the stairs I'd built. Across the living room floor, Helen and I had refinished together. The rustle of artificial branches, the tree Diane had insisted on because real ones made a mess. I see it. Red envelope. What is this? Open it. Paper tearing. Silence. 5 seconds. 10. I counted the way you count after lightning, measuring the distance of the storm. What? His voice cracked. What is this? You're holding 3 things. First, a letter from First National Mortgage, informing you that the refinance application on my house has been flagged as fraudulent due to a forged signature. Second, a certified letter from Dr. Nathan Reeves, confirming he has never met, examined, or evaluated me. Third, 3 independent psychiatric reports confirming I have perfect cognitive function, no dementia, no confusion, no impairment. Silence. Then Diane in the background. Marcus, what's wrong? What is it? There's also a 4th document, I continued. A copy of the criminal complaint I mailed to the Multnomah County DA yesterday. Forgery, fraud, elder abuse, falsification of medical records, perjury in the conservatorship petition you filed 2 days ago. His breathing changed, ragged, shallow. Dad, wait. Listen, this isn't what you think. We were trying to protect you. The doctor, the assessment, it was precautionary. Marcus, I have recordings. November 27th. You said, and I'm quoting your exact words, he's slipping, Diane. Everyone can see it. December 14th. The conservatorship petition is ready. Dad goes to Sunrise Gardens January 2nd. December 18th. Diane on speakerphone arranging falsified medical notes. I recorded everything. Every conversation. Every plan. Every lie. The sound that came through the phone wasn't words. It was the sound of someone realizing the floor has disappeared beneath them. Then Diane's voice, sharp, grabbing the phone. Walter, you're confused. This is exactly what we were worried about. Recording people? Making accusations? This is paranoid behavior. A judge will see 3 independent psychiatric evaluations conducted last week. A judge will see a letter from Dr. Reeves saying he never examined me. A judge will see a forged refinance application. A judge will see your voice on tape planning to falsify medical records. And a judge will see the conservatorship petition you filed using fabricated evidence. That's not paranoia, Diane. That's a case. She went quiet. One more thing, I said. You have 30 days to vacate my house. If you're not out by January 24th, Catherine Park, my attorney, will file for formal eviction. And Diane, I'd start looking for a criminal defense lawyer. Both of you. I ended the call, set the phone on the nightstand, looked out at the Christmas lights, felt nothing. Not triumph, not sadness, just the clean emptiness of a demolished site before new construction begins. The weeks after Christmas unfolded like a structure collapsing in slow motion. Each beam falling triggered the next. January 3rd. Marcus and Diane retained Howard Beck, a defense attorney who specialized in what he called family misunderstandings. Catherine sent him our evidence package. He called her back within 2 hours, voice apparently shaken, suggested mediation. Catherine's response: my client isn't interested in mediating fraud. January 10th. The DA's office opened a formal investigation. Detective Rosa Vega from the Elder Abuse Unit interviewed me at Catherine's office. Professional, thorough, gentle in a way that made me understand she'd seen this before. Worse than this, your documentation is exceptional, Mr. Brennan, she said. Most elder abuse cases fall apart because victims can't prove intent. You've proven intent 6 ways from Sunday. January 15th. Marcus called from a blocked number. I answered, against Catherine's advice. Recorded it. Dad, please. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But I'm your son. Doesn't that count for something? It counted for everything, Marcus. That's why this hurts as much as it does. You had everything. The house would have been yours eventually. The money. All of it. Your mother and I planned for that. But you couldn't wait. You had to take it while I was still breathing. I was desperate. The debts. Diane was pressuring. Don't blame your wife. I heard every conversation. You led this. You planned it. You forged my name. You invented a doctor's assessment. Own it. He was crying. I recognized the sound from when he was 8 and broke the neighbor's window with a baseball. What do I do now? I can't answer that for you anymore. January 24th. They moved out. I watched from across the street in my truck as a rental van pulled away. Diane drove their Honda. Marcus rode with the movers. They'd found an apartment in Gresham. I knew because Catherine's investigator tracked the lease. I walked through my empty house that evening. They'd taken the furniture from their room, which was fine. But they'd also taken Helen's crystal vase from the dining room, her grandmother's. I photographed the empty spot where it had stood, sent it to Catherine, added it to the file. February brought the legal machinery to full speed. Grand jury indicted Marcus on 3 counts. First-degree forgery, attempted fraud, elder abuse. Diane was indicted as co-conspirator on the fraud and elder abuse charges. Bail set at $25,000 each. Marcus's employer, a startup in the Pearl District, terminated him when the indictment became public. LinkedIn went quiet. His professional network evaporated like morning fog. Diane's real estate broker suspended her license pending the criminal proceedings. No license, no closings, no income. February 14th, Valentine's Day. Catherine filed my civil suit. $48,000 in unpaid rent. 9 months at market rate of $2,400 monthly for a 4-bedroom Portland home plus utilities. $75,000 in emotional distress damages. $30,000 for legal fees. Total. 153. 0. Howard Beck called Catherine the next day. They don't have it. They have maybe $8,000 in savings. Marcus's 401k has $22,000. That's everything. Catherine relayed this to me. I said, good. Now they know what it feels like to have someone come for everything you have. March. The criminal trial date was set for May. Marcus attempted one more contact. A letter, handwritten, mailed to the house. Dad, I know you won't read this, but I have to try. Diane left. Moved back to Sacramento. Filed for divorce. I'm alone in a studio apartment eating ramen and facing prison time. I lost everything. My wife, my career, my father. You're right that I did this to myself. I know that, but I'm still your son. Mom would have wanted us to talk. He was right about one thing. Helen would have wanted us to talk. She was a better person than either of us. I read the letter once, folded it, filed it in the evidence folder. Not because I'd use it against him, because I wanted to remember what manipulation looks like when it wears grief as a costume. April. Catherine secured a default judgment on the civil case. Marcus didn't contest. Couldn't afford to. $153,000. Judgment entered against Marcus, David Brennan. He'd pay it back in installments for the rest of his life. Or he wouldn't. I'd already decided to donate whatever came in to the Oregon Elder Abuse Prevention Alliance. May 4th. Criminal trial. I attended this time. Sat in the back row of the courtroom. Marcus looked thin, older. He saw me when he turned around. Our eyes met. I held his gaze for 3 seconds, then looked away. The prosecution presented my recordings, the forged documents, Dr. Reeves's denial letter, the fabricated medical notes, the conservatorship petition built on lies. Marcus's attorney attempted diminished capacity, financial desperation, marital pressure. None of it stuck. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Forgery, attempted fraud, elder abuse. Sentencing came in June. 3 years probation. 200 hours community service at a senior center. Mandatory restitution. Criminal record permanent. The judge addressed Marcus directly. Mr. Brennan, you attempted to steal your father's autonomy, his home, and his dignity. The fact that he was your father makes this worse, not better. You exploited the one relationship that should have been sacred. Marcus stared at the table. Didn't look up. I left the courtroom without speaking to anyone. Drove home in rain that had been falling since morning. Portland, in spring. Same gray wool. At home, I made coffee. Sat in Helen's sunroom. Watched the garden she'd planted grow wild and green. Catherine called that evening. It's over, Walter. Criminal conviction. Civil judgment. They're done. What happens to him now? Probation. Community service. He'll need to find work with a felony record. Not easy. Not impossible. He's 38. He has time. Time to what? Start over. The way you're starting over. I thanked her. Ended the call. Sat in the quiet house. July. I started renovating. The house needed work. Always had. But Helen and I kept postponing. Now I had time and motivation. Tore out the kitchen cabinets. Ordered new ones. Refinished the hardwood throughout. Repainted every room. Colors Helen had picked out years ago from swatches that still sat in her bedside drawer. The guest bedroom where Marcus and Diane had slept became a workshop. Drafting table, tool bench. No bed. No accommodation for visitors who wouldn't come. I joined a woodworking class at the community college. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Built a bookshelf. Then a coffee table. Then a jewelry box modeled after the one Helen's grandmother had owned. The crystal vase was gone, but the memory wasn't. August brought a letter from the Oregon Elder Abuse Prevention Alliance. My donations, converted from Marcus's restitution payments, had funded a new hotline. They asked if I'd speak at their annual gala. I said yes. Stood at a podium in a hotel ballroom and told my story to 200 people. Not for sympathy, for warning. Trust is not a permanent condition, I said. It requires maintenance, inspection, the same way a building does. And when you find structural damage, you don't ignore it and hope the roof holds. You fix it or you tear it down. September, first frost. I stood on my porch at dawn, coffee in hand, watching mist rise off the lawn Helen had loved. My phone sat inside on the kitchen counter. I'd stopped carrying it everywhere, stopped expecting calls from numbers I'd blocked. A letter arrived that afternoon. No return address. Marcus's handwriting. Dad. I finished my first month of community service at the senior center. There's a man there named George, 82. His daughter put him in the facility 3 years ago. Visits once a year. He talks about her constantly. Says she's busy. I sit with him on Thursdays. I don't know why I'm telling you this. Maybe because I finally understand what I almost did to you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. I read the letter on the porch. Read it again. Folded it. Didn't file it in the evidence folder this time. Put it in the kitchen drawer. The one where Helen kept recipes she meant to try someday. I didn't respond. Didn't block the mailbox. Just let it sit there. Some letters don't need answers. They need time. October. I walked the property boundary at sunset. The maple Helen planted when Marcus was born had turned crimson. 38 years of growth. Roots deep. Branches spreading. I stood under it for a long time. Then I went inside. Locked the door. Set the alarm, made dinner for one, ate in the sunroom, washed the dishes, turned off the lights. The house settled around me. My house, my life. No one plotting in the rooms above. No one whispering about what I was worth, dead or incompetent. Just silence. And the rain starting again outside, and the solid bones of a home I'd built and rebuilt and defended. I started this as a father who trusted too much. I'm ending it as a man who learned the difference between love and obligation, between family and entitlement, between forgiveness and foolishness. They tried to erase me from my own story. I rewrote the ending. If you liked this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. To listen to the next story, click the video on the left side of your screen. Thank you for listening.